You're late. You guys are late. Where have y'all been? Where have you been at? What was so important that you had to be late for this video, huh? Been waiting on you. Been waiting on you. The Blue Buster, she's looking good, man. This thing's been an absolute pleasure to build. I've really enjoyed it. I've thoroughly enjoyed the build process on this boat. 120 Atlas Vans Hydroplane. All right. I've been doing a little bit of work off camera, doing some sanding, some fine sanding. I finished up the wing. It's all sanded to shape. All right. Ready to be primed. The boat's ready to be primed. And the hatch, I've got to epoxy the hatch onto the cowling here. I've got the hole enlarged to accommodate the hole that I cut in the cowling the other day. Oh yeah. We gotta drill the holes for the wing so we can epoxy the wing on when we epoxy the hatch on. So it's all done in one shot. Stick around. Might as well. You guys are here. Finally. You're late. So what I'm gonna do is, I looked at this picture right here, and the wing, it looks like it goes all the way to the transom. Alright, so I'm gonna basically butt the trailing edge of the wing up to the transom here. And I'm gonna use this little adjustable ruler to find where my holes are gonna be at, okay? Same on both sides. Got it to the second pin like so. Alright, I'm gonna mark it on the boat. Alright, now let's set this on the boat and try to get a width here. Okay, make sure it's the same on both sides. Get one shot at this, that's for sure. Yep. Alright, so I've got my little drill bit right here. It's like my thumb drill bit, my fingers drill bit. I'm not going to use my drill on this because I could drill through the non-trip. So I'm going to take my time and just hand drill it. Alright, I'll fast forward through it so you guys aren't, you know, watching me blah blah blah. So yeah, nice, perfect. All right, so I'm gonna cut these pins down. Okay, so that side's set down, and you trim a little bit off of this side. That looks cool, y'all. It looks cool, and it's pretty solid in there. It's freaking solid already. I hadn't even epoxied it, okay? I outlined the hatch, the cowling on the hatch, and the hull of the boat. Alright, like so. So I'll have something to line up to once I'm epoxying. And I'm going to start mixing up some epoxy. I got some hairs right here. I'm going to cut up, make my little paste. Because I want to kind of, I've got to fill in this little hole right here where I cut the hole out too big. So I got to fill that up. And I kind of want like a little transition to the hatch right here. And that transition with the hairs, alright, and that'll kind of reinforce the sides of this hatch a little bit. You know, I've got the bottom of the hatch rounded and curved so it matches the boat perfect. And yeah, let me quit jacking my jaws. Let's get to it. Got some hairs cut up, but first I want to drizzle a little bit of epoxy down in these holes right here. Alright, just a little bit. Let it go ahead and start soaking up. Wipe up the excess off the boat here so I don't have a lot of sanding to do. I'm going to use one of my pick tools here. Kind of get it in there. Ooh. Now I'm going to wipe up that excess so I'm not sanding for hours. Alright. Okay. Put a little bit of this epoxy. I'm not going to go heavy on this. I don't think it's going to take much. Plus, if it gets ripped off, I don't want it to pull the whole piece of wood out. Maybe it'll just break loose, you know, if I go light with it. Right. Use a rubber band to hold it down. Okay. I'm going to use a dry brush right here on this excess that's squeezed out. All right, just kind of flatten it out a little bit. See how liquidy this is? See how runny this is? See that? Now let's add the hairs. Okay, that's going to make a glue for us. Alright, so I need to be careful not to get epoxy all over the boat. I don't want it, because I'm going to leave the hatch on the boat while it's curing out, so it conforms to this hatch cover. Okay, I don't want to make a mess with this. So I need to mark where it's going to end at on my canopy here, so I don't put epoxy up here, just back here. Alright, and I'm also going to always like to put epoxy on both pieces that I'm joining together. I'll go around and epoxy this. Need to make sure she's straight on the boat, and it looks like it is. Using the fiberglass to go down on this paper. Okay, I can sand the paper off, but that's going to give me a nice tight profile for my hatch up front. So there's no gap in between the hatch and the top deck. Okay. All right, so I've got these strips of cutting board. All right, this stuff, I put one back here on the back of the hatch where my rubber band is, and I've got epoxy on it. It'll pop right off. Epoxy don't stick to it. I want this to be flat back here. You know what I'm saying? So I epoxied it. And what I'm going to do with these rubber bands, I'm going to put one of these little pieces of cutting board up under it so the rubber band don't stick to it. I have to sand the darn rubber band off. Alright, I can just pop that little piece of cutting board off. Boom, no problem. What do I freaking know? What do I freaking know? Now let's clean up all the extra epoxy so we don't have to sand as much. Hopefully my hatch don't stick to the boat. It's the moment of truth. It's the next day. Let's see if all our little spacers come off and our protective tape and paper, everything comes off clean. The moment of truth. Alright, so let's check the wing. Ooh. Oh yeah, it's stiff, son. Ooh. Alright, let's take the rubber bands off. Oh, that one popped right off. Oh yeah, oh yeah. See if that, oh, that one coming right off. Those cutting boards don't stick to epoxy that well. All right. Okay, so let's see if this is coming off. Nice. The paper. Let me get a razor. Good deal, good deal. Good deal. That looks good. Didn't get stuck to the boat. That's what I was worried about. Couldn't get no sleep last night. Worried about that hatch sticking to my freaking boat. Oh man, it looks nice. Alright, let's see if we can get this one off. Oh, good deal. Alright, so I've got to actually profile this hatch down a little bit more, like I was saying. But I found one spot where I didn't seal it all the way. You see that? Alright, so while I'm doing that, I'm going to go ahead and profile the inside of this hole a little nicer to match the inside of the cowling. The cowling turned out freaking awesome, you guys. Check it out. I still got to do some sanding, you know, before I do my epoxy. But I just wanted to show you guys. I got it to sit down perfect all the way around. A little bit high back here, but I could deal with that. I could deal with that. This is what I was worried about. It's sitting flush on the bow of the boat, and it's actually looking good. I'm about to go out to the shop and do my last final finish sanding on the cowling and the wing before I pull the epoxy out. Just to make sure there's no little hairline cracks. Like, you guys see that right there? That hairline right there, where I made my hole too big. So I need to fill that in. A little tip I can give you guys is like use a little hobby knife on the edges of your hatch right here. To get your hatch to fit perfect, you basically push down one side, push down the other side, and you see where it's pivoting. All right, so my pivot point looks like it's about right here. See where it's pivoting up? See that? So I'm gonna take my hobby knife here, excuse me. I've already went through it with sandpaper. All right, went through it with sandpaper, but I'm gonna take my hobby knife and use it as a scraper. Scrape down that high spot where the lid was pivoting. Just kind of scrape anything that might be in the corners right there, preventing that hatch from laying down perfect. All right, but I don't want to scrape it down to the wood. I'm just cleaning it up so I get a nice fit. This hobby knife will get down where your sandpaper won't, or your sandpaper will, but it'll take you forever and a day to sand it. This will give you a nice straight line all the way around the hatch. Yep. Learned that building those two boats right there. All right, this is my wooden step pole boat that I built. All right, this thing's freaking fast, you guys, and it's even fast as heavy as it is. This freaking thing's a tank. I made it. This was my second boat I ever built, and I made it with thick wood. You know, a lot of fiberglass, a lot of thick wood. But this thing's a freaking rocket, you guys. It'll I swear to God, it'll do 60. But I'm gonna make a mold out of that boat. That one right there is worth making a mold out of. This one, I kind of put it on the back burner. I get tired of working on fiberglass projects like this. It's so messy, and it's time consuming, and I just got to be in the mood for it. So this boat is it's coming to the channel again. Just got to get in the mood for it. And it really needs to warm up a little bit before I start working on it. With that fiberglass, it needs to be nice and warm. So back to the 120 here. Alright, so it's not pivoting as bad as it was. Now it's pivoting in the back, so I'm going to take a little bit off this back right here where it was pivoting at. Maybe that thing will lay down flat for us. Yeah, it's a lot of like back and forth when you're trying to get something to fit perfect. A lot of back and forth, so just have to be patient. We'll go through and finalize my sanding on this on the hatch. If I go through to the wood, it's okay. I want to get my profile right, and again, you got to go back and forth. Look at the boat, make sure the angles are right, make sure the sides are you know, the same on both sides. A lot of back and forth work here, a lot of finish work. One side of my wing is lower on this side, on this trailing edge side, and this side is a little bit higher. So I'm profiling the wing to match both sides, because this is like an important part of the boat. You guys see how it's like a little bit lower on this side in the back, and this side's like a little bit high. So I'm gonna sand the bottom of this and the top of this side to try to match it up on both sides. All the prep on the boat is completely done. Completely done. This is the last coat of epoxy I'm going to do. Cowling's profiled perfect. The wing is profiled perfect, so that it's going to actually got a little angle on it, so it's actually going to pick the back of the boat up and hopefully push the front of the boat down. Alright, I had to sand through to this basswood or birch wood that I sandwiched in between the balsa, because I profiled the wing when it wasn't on the boat. If I had to do it all over again, I wouldn't even have sanded the wing at all until I put it on the boat. Alright, so I got to looking at it earlier, and it was like crooked. This side over here had some down angle. This side right here, it was like kind of pointing up a little bit, like a little bit of up angle. So I've got it profiled perfect, alright, to it, and it's actually profiled better now. I'm glad I did it. Real thin up here, so I'm going to epoxy over all of this. Okay, it's just I needed to reprofile it. Alright, teardrop shape, wing shape. Yeah, man, this boat's been a pleasure to build. I really enjoyed it. If you guys have never built a wood kit before, I would do it. I would do it if you're familiar with epoxies and fiberglasses and stuff. Even if you're not, you can build a wooden boat. It's fun. It's fun. Definitely a good experience. Definitely a good experience. It's tedious and it takes a while, a lot of finish work, a lot of sanding and stuff, but it's worth it. It's worth it. When you're done, It's not like buying a ready to run. You got something to freaking show off and be proud of, you know? Really be proud of it. It's a lot of work. Don't get me wrong, it's a lot of work. But you can make it your own. You can make it your own. 100% your own. Alright, so my final coat of epoxy is dried. Okay, I put some weight on the hatch last night to get it so it'll lay down right there, and it looks like it did. The wings, perfect. I took my adjustable ruler as I was sanding it, and I went across the back. It's perfect. Alright, so we're gonna I'm gonna go ahead and sand it. This is my final sanding. The boat's done. The boat's done. It's just the hatch and the wing. I'm waiting on. My Blackjack 24. Got one more little application of epoxy on the edges right here. The back's good. A couple little spots, but she's nice. Ooh, yeah. Huh, she's about to get 70 miles an hour with that boat. That's my plan. That's my plan. Yeah, it's cold out here today, you guys. It's cold here in North Carolina. We had our first ice storm. They closed everything, closed the schools, and there's not even any ice outside. I mean, it's ridiculous. They closed everything down. Everything. A little bit of ice. Everything. Pharmacies are closed. The schools are closed. Everything is closed. Boom! Alright, she's done. She's done. Paint should fill in any of those little nooks and crannies. Top side's done. Alright, got all the edges inside the hatch. The wing is done. Alright, she's looking good. Nice teardrop shape, wing shape. I took some black epoxy with graphite and just put it on the edges of my rod pads right here. Trying to, basically, I want to bring the rod pad out just a hair. Not even bring it out, but trying to create some sharp edges. The edges on my rod pads kind of look like this, kind of rounded. And I learned my lesson on my rigger, on my mini rigger. Not having a sharp edge will cause the boat to possibly flip and stuff in the turn. So I want my edges extremely sharp. So I'm building up epoxy like that. All right. Even on this inside one and on the outside, I want it, you know, I got a little lip on the outside that I want to actually sand like this, and then on this one right here I want it to kind of go out like a nice crisp line, you know, at least a nice crisp corner, you know what I mean, at least a nice crisp corner, so the water just disperses off the edge of the rod pad like perfect. It's not dragging the boat down, it's actually, you know, planing out and running perfect, you know. So yeah, we'll see you in the next one, you guys. We'll see you in the next one. The next one we'll be painting. We'll be painting the boat. All right, gotta go get some materials and stuff. But yeah, man, she's ready. She's ready. Thank you guys for hanging in there this long. If you're still here, thank you. We'll see you guys next time. Thanks for watching Big B with Ironclad RC, a channel where we tinker, test, and tear shit up. Y'all looking at my damn aft again?